HMA Fantasy Wrestling brings you the Best of the Decade Dual Tournament, based off of Flo Wrestling Radio Live's recent series on individual athletes. This new project brings together wrestling minds from all over the country to decide which college wrestling team can claim the title of the best team of the decade. Prepare for pandemonium, excitement, and of course, entertainment.
Especially considering that Jordan Burroughs steps on a landmine and really goes out there to wrestle. And then that's it.
The rules are simple. Each college team gets to draft an all-star lineup based off of the last 10 years of competition. Once each team is settled, the HMA crew assigns different teams to the sport's greatest minds to vote on each match in the event for the entertaining series. Each host has one landmine to use in a round. Similar to FRL, a landmine can wreck all votes from the community and the other hosts. A landmine is used on an individual match, and it's the only place you can get bonus points for your team. The next episode of HMA Fantasy Wrestling is here. Let's let it roll.
What's up, wrestling fans? We're back for the next episode of the Home Mat Advantage Fantasy Wrestling Podcast. We had the last quarterfinal round today in this episode, and we are lucky to be joined by, was there 4 other people in here with me today? So we got Sam Herring, Jude Swisher, Dyson Gould, and our man, two-time champ, Matt McDonough. How you doing today, Matt?
I'm doing good. Ready to go to battle.
Awesome. How's everybody else doing? Dyson, how are you doing?
Doing good. Woke up, got a nice little workout in, ready to talk some wrestling. Go
so
Hawks.
You and Sam both got up and did the Young Guns workout, right?
Yes, sir.
How's that going?
It's going good.
Man, a few words.
Hot take from Dyson Gould.
All right.
It was hard this morning.
We also we got into an argument about how Jude shouldn't drink coffee before the show. So
mine's gone.
You already drank that? Wow.
All right. Well, let's take a look back real quick before we go any further on what happened last night. If you were not tuned in, last night we had our third quarterfinal. We had Logan Stieber on for Ohio State, and so he led his Buckeyes in a beatdown over Minnesota. Looking at it beforehand, I thought it was definitely going to lean Buckeyes like pretty heavily, but it set up. It was almost 33-0. If I didn't throw a landmine in there for my man Brayton Lee, but we got 3 of the 4 semifinal teams lined up, being Penn State, the number 1 seed, and they kind of skated by Virginia Tech in a closer match than we thought. And then Wisconsin, just the underdog, the Cinderella run of the tournament, coming through, upsetting number 4 and number 5 with some very well-placed landmines by Mr. Seth Gross. And then, Logan Stieber is he likes to win. I don't know if you guys got the same vibe, but when I landmined Brayton Lee in that last match, I think he was kind of ticked.
He got a little upset. I'm not gonna lie.
It's like he's up 30-0, gonna be 33-0, and I just was like, all right, I like Brayton Lee. He's my dude. I gotta help him out. And he got kind of quiet there for a couple minutes.
Don't start trash talking Logan Stieber. I don't think that's a good plan.
No way. But he's just that intensely competitive, I guess, man.
How was Ohio State Oklahoma that close, and then Ohio State just blew out Minnesota? Oklahoma had
a really, really good lineup.
Yeah, Logan Stieber wasn't there for sure. But dude, Oklahoma's pretty stacked. They've had a bunch of really good dudes over the years. They just haven't really all ended up on the same team at the same time. But
so the deal with Wisconsin and Oklahoma, both of them got a really low seed, partly because we did the seeding before we made the teams, and so the seeding was based off of the number of All-Americans and the highest place finish in NCAAs, and they had transfers. So we get to count their guys once we make their team, but while they're in the bracket and while we were seeding them, they had a low seed because their guys weren't on their team at the time. And so some guys like Andrew Howe wrestled for Wisconsin and Oklahoma. Some guys like that, you only get half the points for seeding. So it's a little weird for those two teams.
So was Andrew Howe on two teams on this?
Andrew Howe's on two teams.
Yeah.
I love this. This is absolute total as far as you can get. Like, one fantasy bracket.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
the
very,
same person on two different teams in the same bracket. I love it.
Who else is on two teams? We have someone else on two teams too.
Against Andrew Howe, though. I mean, he has to wrestle double matches everybody else.
Yeah, and Tyler Caldwell. Tyler Caldwell's on Oklahoma and Oklahoma
Those guys
State.
are going to get tired, man. They got to wrestle. Twice as many matches in the bracket.
He has to weigh in twice too.
Oh yeah.
Luckily, they were both on opposite sides of the bracket, so we didn't have to hit Howe versus himself. But
would we do a coin flip?
Cool. Then you get to go years, 2000 and whatever.
Yeah, then we would go years.
That'd be
I will say, though, if I ever got a chance to watch Andrew Howe wrestle himself, I think I'd probably take that.
I'd pick that match, yes. Who are you taking in that match, Jacob?
Concussion is what I'm taking.
Someone would walk out of there with some serious bruises.
Someone would.
But another thing to mention before we go forward is that since, like we're saying, we have some of the guys on the same team and all that kind of stuff, when we're talking about these lineups, we're talking about their whole college career. So, peak Montel Marion, peak Jay Nyerman for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, Flo went through and did the bracket, and they did 2010 Matt McDonough, and so we just decided, hey, let's be a little different and just go whole career. But anyway, so we're setting up to the last quarterfinal, Iowa versus Missouri. Iowa put the beat down on the Sun Devils in round one, and then Missouri snaked by Michigan. Man, I'm still upset about that. I strategically saved my landmine that round to have Connor Utsi take out Alan Waters. Yeah. Right? Connor Utsi, man, was like Mr. March back before,
There's a landmine.
Yeah, and so that was awesome. And then I thought I had it set up.
Last match.
And and then Sam broke my heart. But
landmined him.
Yeah, it was awful. Michigan should be in this match, but whatever.
I'm excited.
All right. Well, so
here we go.
And 2 landmines for this duel.
Yeah.
There's 2 total.
Total.
I don't get 2. Oh, I get 1.
You can get one, so you gotta get one. Is the point?
Who else gets it?
Well, no. What I mean is the first 2 people to do it.
So the first 2 people to do it, and then no one else after that.
I'm the only one that doesn't have one left.
We have 4 people on the show that have a landmine.
It's a little bit of strategy.
So who's the other person that can landmine?
Dyson.
Everybody except for me.
Dyson, me, Jude, and Matt.
We're saying everybody except for me has a landmine currently, but once we get to 2, it's done. No more.
Nice.
Got it.
Because we want to keep it as realistic as we can.
We did a really great job of just not
explaining
explaining the rules. I'm very sorry.
All right, so somebody's going to throw a landmine out, and then someone else is going to throw a landmine out, and Jacob's the only person who can't put a landmine out.
Right.
Yes.
You got it. All right.
So before we get into the actual duel, I think it was either Sam or Jude a couple of days ago posted on our Twitter that there was only one man that could settle a debate for us, and luckily we have him on here today, so we're going to get his take on it. But Robles, Spencer Lee, who would win? This has been a hot topic for whatever reason, on FRL and other shows, but just wondering your take on it. I think, you've said you've obviously wrestled Robles in plenty of matches, and then Spencer in the room. So
I only wrestled Robles in one match, but I feel like one match you can get a pretty good feel of a guy like that as far as some of his talents. And I think a lot of people say that that's one of his best years. I mean, just by the stats alone, by far. Spencer Lee is a absolute freak of nature, though. He is a very special athlete. I've twirled this around in my head a while because they match up for a very fun matchup. Robles is extremely strong, but obviously limited in the types of moves he's going to do, but what he's good at, he's incredible at. And Spencer Lee's he's incredible at finding ways to score, especially sometimes when you maybe think he's in trouble and all of a sudden he's on top of somebody. No question about it, there are back points in this match. Who gets the back points and how many they get, I don't know. I personally think that Spencer's craftiness in scramble situations gives him an advantage over a guy like Anthony Robles. I'm going Spencer Lee for the sake that I think he's going to find a way to get on top. Maybe when, Robles has what he thinks is a good hold, and he's very, very savvy. If he gets on top of Robles, does he turn him? I don't know. I certainly feel that he probably rides him out based on history of Anthony's escape capabilities. But kind of I think the glaring wild card is what happens if Anthony Robles gets on top. I think that's probably up for debate, serious debate. Spencer has been turned before. He's still incredible at getting out on pretty much everybody he wrestles, but he's never wrestled Robles, and I have, and that's a guy who's got a pretty unique skill set on bottom. I'm gonna go with Spencer Lee for the sake that on their feet, I give him the advantage because of his ability to find ways to score in scenarios you wouldn't think he's going to score in, or you would think someone's about to score on him. He can squirm his way out. He can basically turn other people's offense into his offense and end up on top. And that's a huge advantage when you're talking about then getting onto the mat. Obviously, both guys could pick top. Who knows? But if Spencer Lee can get on top, that gives him the advantage. But what
do you think they would choose?
Oh, man. All right. So
if you were Spencer, second period, what would you choose?
First period neutral. If Spencer gets on top and can ride Robles, I think he definitely chooses top, potentially neutral. And I think no question about it, Robles is choosing top, especially if he's down. If he's losing in the match, he's going top. Give himself a chance, because let's be serious. That's where he's made all his money. He turned me, along with darn near everyone else in the country at one point or another. Maybe he didn't in every match he's wrestled someone, but he's turned almost everybody he's ever wrestled.
So that's interesting. Have we ever seen Spencer take top?
I don't think so.
So I'm wondering, like obviously I think he's just a hammer on top, but do you think there's any of that alpha male in him that's I don't care how good this guy is on top, I can get out?
1,000%. I think there's an alpha male, but you're trying to win the best match you can, or prove that you're the best in every position. Maybe he chooses bottom because he knows he can get out.
It'd be interesting to see this match and go, neutral first period, and then both wrestlers pick top.
And I have the utmost respect for Robles, having wrestled him and just him as a person and everything. His strength is, it's unreal for someone at 125. I wrestled him for the finals, so he weighed in the morning, and in the nighttime is when we wrestled. I don't know how a 1 hour or 2 hour weigh-in would affect that. It might affect, shape. It might affect the ability to last the whole match, and so that could be a factor. There's a lot of variables that could be a factor, but I think the important ones are pitting Robles' strength and his tilt ability versus Spencer Lee's craftiness and his ability to put up big points fast. But it's not easy to put up big points fast on someone, of that size. However, if he can't turn Robles, does Robles get out? So now you're looking at someone who may be getting stall calls on bottom, which may affect the match too, because Spencer, I mean, even if he can't turn, he can ride, he can ride very hard. But I would love to see it. I mean, I've wrestled them both, and they're both pretty tough individuals. So I think it'd be a really exciting matchup. I see multiple points going on the board, multiple turns. Maybe they each get a turn.
Who do you think who's stronger? Because we hear
I was going to ask that.
We hear all the time how like incredibly strong Spencer Lee is for like he doesn't look like he's strong, and then obviously
Spencer's strong. He's strong, but it's the positions that he's good at. All of a sudden, like you said, it's like kind of unassuming. You feeling him, wrestling him, and then he gets into a position. It's positional strength. He's very positionally strong. So if he gets on top with the tight waist and pulling in your arm, it's really hard to keep him from just pulling your arm and grabbing that wrist. I mean, it's weird because he's not a big guy, and even me, I'm bigger than him. So you're feeling it getting pulled in, and you're like, no, he's not doing that. And all of a sudden he has it. And you're like, man, did I just let him, pull my arm in? No, I didn't let him. He's really strong positionally, and he's really strong in the areas that he excels in, where Robles is just, pure strength. It's a 165 pounders upper body. You're just missing one limb, so that takes on the weight. But he also doesn't have quite the mobility that Spencer does. So that's where I'm wondering, does Spencer slip his way into quite a few takedowns?
Here's my question. Well, here, I'll ask you. Does Spencer take him down?
I think so. That's where the kind of the differentiation. That's where it got skewed into Spencer's favor in my mind when I thought about it.
Does Robles take Spencer down? Can he?
Absolutely, he can.
Right.
You get in on a tight leg, but Spencer's he's a really hard guy to take down, and you need every factor working in your favor.
Right.
And Robles, he's taken a lot of guys down on brute strength, and solid single leg position. And when you can still be able to move a little bit, I mean, you guys have seen Spencer's flexibility and his ability to turn counter offense into offense is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, and of course there's bias too. There's bias. I'm a Hawkeye. I mean, just seeing what Spencer Lee can do, you have to put him in favor. But the year I wrestled Robles, I mean, he was on a mission, and I'd love to have that match back 100 times over. But it would be very exciting to see a 2011 Anthony Robles versus a 2020 Spencer Lee. It would be a very fun match to see, and that was a very overlooked, fun fantasy matchup. I think people maybe didn't, if it's ever been brought over social media, people didn't take into account quite as much as you could have, because having wrestled them both, obviously Spencer in a room, but Robles in a match, it'd be an exciting matchup to see.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that just be so much
Robles, fun? Is the number 2 of the decade, number 2 wrestler of the decade.
Is he?
Do you think so? At 125?
Man, there's a lot of tough 25 pounders in 2010 to 2020. It's not like it was a ton of turnover. There's usually someone on top of the weight class for a while.
So going through the last couple years that I remember, NCAA champs, you got Spencer. The last 3 years has been on top of the weight. Before that was Darian Cruz, and before that was Tomasello, I believe, or was there somebody in between?
Nico, Tomasello.
Yeah.
Delgado.
Myself. I mean, it's all for a guy like Robles. A lot of it's matchups.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
So wrestling a guy like Nico, I'd be curious how that would go, because Nico's got that unbelievable flexibility.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? I think he's definitely up there as one of the best of the decade, no question.
Would you say Spencer Lee is?
Robles. Spencer Lee, I mean, I'd probably put him on top of the decade.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of debate on that. His track record is unbelievable, especially at the NCAA tournament in March. I mean, you look at his record and 63 wins and 5 losses, and is that
we were looking at it before the show. What was it, like a 77% bonus rate?
78% bonus rate.
78.
I mean, he has 5 losses, and not his wins aren't huge as far as like how many each year, because of maybe not wrestling every match. So you look at it and thinking, regular season and 5 losses, that's not, there's guys like Zane Rutherford or Bo Nickel who have lost less than that in a whole career, or other Hawkeyes who have lost, no more than 5 matches in a career. And it's like, man, is he? But then you just go to March stats and out of this world. I mean, unbelievable. And I don't even think he's, only a guy that shows up in March. I think, take into account that he never redshirted. So you're going straight from high school to that. There's going to be some learning curve, but just 78% bonus rate. I mean, basically, if he locks up a bar arm or a tilt, you're in trouble.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think we saw that, how you're talking about how some people think he kind of shows up in March. I think we saw that change this year. I think the first 2 years you could have said that and it'd have been like, okay, like, I mean, obviously he beats the majority of everybody, but like, yeah, I can see how he turns it on. This year it was March Spencer Lee all year. Like,
yeah,
no doubt.
And my history with him is that's what I knew, and people were talking about how amazing he was, even the past 2 years. Like, man, he can really turn it on, and I'm like, he's not even wrestling at 100% right now. I'm not saying there was an injury or there was something wrong, but just of his capability, he wasn't even wrestling at 100%. This year, I think you saw a lot more of that. Just of what I've felt like his talent level and his ability to dominate. Exactly what you said. This year, I was like, oh my gosh, man, these guys are. I mean, they're literally fighting not to get bonused. Think about that. They're not fighting to win. They're fighting not to get bonused. That is incredible. But I mean,
fighting to make it out of the first period, man.
I wrestled in a finals match against Robles, and halfway through the match, that's what I was doing too. So that's where this is a fun. You go back to the matchup; it's a fun matchup, because that year Anthony Robles was, incredible as far as the mission he was on. I mean, I got beat. I don't know what it was. I think 8-1, 7-1, or 8-1. So I was, because of the turns. The turns are the great equalizer. And you got to remember, Spencer Lee's been under 4-point turn rules his whole career. Anthony Robles was under 3-point turn rules. So that's, who knows which rules are we going under? Not that it matters significantly, but
we're going 4-point.
That's an incredible factor. I would have loved to wrestle under those. I probably would have gone for a few more techs. I wanted to try to pin everybody, but
yeah.
We
brought this up when we were talking about AJ Shop. It was Edinburgh versus Cornell, so it was him versus Nashon Garrett. And under 4-point turning rules, AJ Shop would be incredible.
Y'all are crazy.
Just think of all the points he could put up.
Sure.
We've had debates about this, but just think about, in general, AJ Shop under 4-point turning rules with riding time.
Oh, absolutely.
That's tough.
Y'all are still crazy, though. I was outvoted. It's Nashon, man.
Yeah, I'm taking Nashon. I love Shop. He's tough, but to be a person that I consider like you are scary, you either win a national title because you're so good on top, even if you're not as good in other positions, or there is nobody that can ever get away from you, and you basically can turn at least 95% everybody you wrestle. I mean, you think about Spencer Lee. Yeah, some people get away, but they usually don't get away before they got turned. Very rare. Yeah. Like almost never. So I'm with you, Jacob. I would go Nashon all day. I haven't wrestled Shop, never. I've never even wrestled with him. I've wrestled Nashon, but 133-pound Nashon versus AJ Shop. I'm going Nashon. However, 4-point turns, that definitely throws an 8-ball in there. That would be fun. That would be fun to see.
All right. Well, I got one more question, and then we'll put this thing to rest, and we'll move on to the duel. So first time you were in the room and got to wrestle with Spencer, I'm thinking, obviously you're going in, you're like, you have the confidence. Like, I'm 2-time champ. This guy's, young guy. Like, what happens? Did you put your hands on him and immediately kind of have your way? Did he, or like, how did that go that first time you guys wrestled?
I don't exaggerate this at all, but because I saw it kind of his whole freshman year. I think the first time I wrestled him, I ended up on my back somehow. And I mean, I don't want to say you're overlooking him, but at the time you're talking about a kid who's still in high school, and you're wrestling him and you're like, I'm a college veteran. Like, this is a high school kid. I mean, he's going to be tough, but I know there's a steep learning curve. And his judo background from his parents, they were great. They're great, by the way. But his judo background, he doesn't even really utilize it the same way he used to. Or maybe it's just you don't see it in his matches. But you end up on your back. He throws you on your back. I saw it all the time in the Iowa room that there'd be someone getting thrown on their back, and there'd be a turn, and it's just like, it's kind of like bad turned to worse. But obviously, that he runs hot, as some would say. He puts up a lot of points fast, but that takes a lot of energy. So when it comes to a workout, then later in the workout, maybe you have a little more advantage. But that doesn't really matter if you put up 20 points on someone before they hit the chance to score back on you. But he's out of this world. I mean, he's incredible. His skill set and his ability to turn it on are some of the best I've ever wrestled with.
Oh, man.
Very cool. All right. Well, that's, our little Spencer versus Robles debate. That's cool. Thanks for sharing that. It's definitely the most exciting perspective of this debate, if you ask me, from you, because you've actually put hands on both of them. So
I'm trying to be as unbiased as I can and be objective in all my I think that's important always to try to. But man, wrestling with Spencer, he's a special guy, and the best part about him is probably off the mat. He comes across as kind of a soft-spoken, humble guy.
Yeah.
A very unassuming, calm kid, and then you get him on the mat, and it's like someone trying to, get off the mat in 30 seconds, all by just rolling you around like you're some kind of rag doll.
I mean, and how do you have to feel? How embarrassed you have to feel to see your opponent run out to the Pokemon theme song and then take you in the first? My Lord.
It is. I mean, it's disheartening. You got to imagine guys are at this point in his career, they are psychologically psyched out. I mean, they are literally thinking, I'm gonna not let him score, and I'm gonna wear on him and get him tired, and then in the third period he's gonna be tired, and that's where I'm gonna take it. Everybody, it's happened before, and it's just like, what happens then when you get taken out and turned right away? I mean, look what happened to Piccinini this year.
Yeah.
He pinned him the year before, and then he got majored at the NCAAs, which, all right, now it's back to reality of like, all right, I'm still the underdog in this match. And then this year's duel, he's coming out thinking, I'm going to give it to him. I'm going to give him everything I got. And sure enough, he gets taken down and turned in the first period. That's gotta be more demoralizing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, especially with 4-point turn rules. 6 points you're down by, just like that.
And then if he goes to fireman's where he gets back points off of his takedown and then gets a turn, it's already 10-0 in a matter of seconds. Like, so many points can be put up so quickly.
Oh, yeah.
But Dyson, you have Spencer as well?
Yeah, I have Spencer.
I thought so. And then was Jude, are you the only one that had
I think I picked Robles in this match.
You freaking Hawkeye hater.
It's not that.
It's the Penn State fan in you.
I'm a Hawkeye homer, and that's a tough matchup because I've wrestled them both, and the skill sets are so unique that I would love to see them clash.
And the thing, it's fantasy, right? Like you gotta. I'm picking him. Not that like I'm 100% certain it's what would happen, but because I think that there's a clear avenue to victory for Robles, right? It's not like it's impossible. I don't know.
While we were talking about this, I was just thinking, like, how fun would it be just to like go back and have matches like 2020 Spencer Lee versus 2011 Anthony Robles, 2013 Kyle Dake, 2011 Jordan Burroughs, just like matches like that. That'd be unbelievable.
Oh, man. We don't want to get into the Kyle Dake, Jordan Burroughs debate.
No, we don't want that press.
We might have to split this thing in two.
Greatest FRL I've ever seen. That was I felt like I was watching a UFC press conference. And some people hate it and think that's all, but come on, pure entertainment. Those guys were at it. Yeah. I loved it.
Like, objectively, it was the most fun thing I did that day.
Spencer Lee and Anthony Robles on here to debate each other on who would win.
You think they would?
You could do it with so many people, and it would be great entertainment to just like.
Do you think Spencer and Robles would do it?
It's like a backyard bonfire debate. Like, I would have beat you at my best. I would have beat you at my best. Come on.
I think that it would be awesome. But I think would Spencer defend himself that hard?
I'm more worried about Robles defending himself.
You saw it against Kyle Dake and Jordan Burroughs. You get anybody together, and once you ignite the flame, they're gonna debate each other on who.
All right, I think you're right. I think you just got to do a lot of hype up. And
who you got in that match?
And then it goes into Burroughs. Just wrestle right now. Let's just wrestle right now. Come on, let's just set up a match. Come on, anytime. It's like MMA. It's crazy. I love it.
Maybe we'll try to poke the bear and see if it can happen.
Oh no! I did not want to be part of that.
Buddy. They're both amazing human beings. I love them both, and I don't think they would. I don't know if they would fall for that, but
yeah, that's my.
Hey, this is what people got to realize. It's all in good fun. I mean, this is great wrestling, and it's more than anything, it's fun.
Oh, that's for sure. All right, let's get into this duel, guys.
So, to the duel.
So Jude gets to pick the starting weight, right?
Yes, Jude gets to pick starting weights. Where are we starting, Jude?
Well, before we do that, let's just run through the lineups, and then so that I can think over this decision. All right.
I'm scared.
No, not scared. Strategic.
Think over what decision? The landline? Come on.
No. What weight we're gonna start at? So, all right. For the Missouri.
I think of this earlier.
Missouri, okay, Mizzou. We're starting 125 pounds, Alan Waters, followed by John Ernesty, Jaden Ironman, Drake Hudeshelt, Joey LaValle, Connor Flynn, Daniel Lewis, Max Askren, Jaden Cox, and Don Bradley. And then, Matt, why don't you tell us about the Iowa Hawkeyes? Who do you have stepping on the mat today?
So, our number 2 Iowa Hawkeyes, we got a pretty solid lineup. Spencer Lee at 125, followed by 4-time All-American and NCAA champ Corey Clark. Following him, Montel Marion, 141 pounds, 2-time finalist, 3-time All-American. 149 will be Brent Metcalf, one of the best Hawkeyes all time, 3-time finalist, 2-time champ, Hodge Trophy winner, along with Spencer Lee now. Derek St. John, another 4-time All-American at 157, homegrown from Iowa City, Iowa. Alex Marinelli coming in at 165, who is now a 3-time All-American. Jay Borschel, one of my old teammates both in high school and college, and an NCAA champion, 2-time All-American at 174. 184 is good old mullet man Sammy Brooks. 197 is Nathan Burak, 3-time All-American, and rounding it out, another 3-time All-American in Bobby Telford.
So I got another question before we go on because you said it. Were you there the year that Sammy won the Big Ten and gave the interview?
Oh yeah, I wasn't on the team obviously, but I was a post grad there. Yeah.
How was that? What was that like behind the scenes after he gave that interview?
Oh, it was. Everyone loved it. I mean, it was fun. Hilarious. I will say though, on a side note, the fact that I didn't, along with other NCAA champs, didn't even make the Iowa all-decade lineup just goes to show you how tough the Iowa all-decade lineup is. And I'm sure it's that way for a couple other schools, but let's be serious. Me and Tony Ramos aren't even on this starting lineup, and that's just off the top of my head. Come on.
Dan Dennis.
Yeah, Olympian.
Insane.
You got Ryan Morningstar, two-time All-American. Yeah.
I was going to ask also because I tried to – so I put together the Iowa lineup, and Jude put his neck out last night and asked Logan if his Ohio State lineup was okay. So I'll do the same thing. Do you think – is this the accurate all-decade team for you, or do you think that I could have put somebody somewhere else?
I mean, after this year, I think I finally there's not a question. I'm a backup. It's a hard pill to swallow, but I think after this year, I am officially on the second stringer. 33, Tony Ramos, Corey Clark. That's a tough one. I know Corey Clark has more finalists, and he's obviously a 4-time All-American. But Tony Ramos was tough. And you look at his every season, there's a consistent, pretty tough season. 41, I don't know if there's really any debate there. 49, no question. 57, no question. 65, Marinelli, Morningstar. I think that's pretty solid. 74, Jade Warshell. That's, I think, our only national champ in the last decade. So that's solid.
Kemmerer was close.
84, I think people look over Phil Keddy quite a bit. I know he was only 1 year for the decade, and if you only go on 2010, I think you got to give it to Sammy Brooks. But if you go on career,
no, we go whole career.
Yeah, so if you go whole career, Phil Keddy, that's between 33 and 84. Those are definitely the two that I would question the absolute most. 97, Burak, 3-time All-American. I don't think anyone else has leaped that. And then Bobby Telford, you could again throw in my old teammate Dan Erickson, but I think whole career you have to give it to Bobby Telford.
So at 97, you got Burak in there. Do you think Warner's got the trajectory to maybe pass up Burak?
I really would have liked to see this year at the national tournament, his sophomore year, because obviously he had some losses, and really not a ton, but he had some losses that make you go, all right, where would he have finished? Where Burak he ended on a high note. But I think if you give it a couple more years, I think absolutely you could throw Warner. And that's, Nathan Burak still around Iowa City. That's probably his goal. You're trying to make Jacob Warner surpass what you did. No question.
Yeah.
If your head's in the right place, your heart's in the right place. So as it stands right now, I don't think there's a question. I think Nathan Burak, but give it 2 more years, and I think you could easily see that one flip. My only two that are even debatable are 33 and 84, and no option is the wrong option. It's just preference, more or less.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
where are we starting, Jude?
We're starting at 174 pounds. Jay Borschel versus Daniel Lewis.
Okay.
And,
so you want that shellacking first?
Yes,
I think that's where I want to start. And let me get you started off.
Blow through this landmine right out of the gate, but all right.
Okay, we're gonna start with 174 pounds. Daniel Lewis. He is I believe a 3-time All-American. Is that correct, Sam Herron?
Daniel Lewis,
he's a 4-time.
All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Daniel Lewis, 4-time. He's a several-time conference champion. He has placed as high as 4th. Oh, he placed 4th 3 times. Really, really tough dude for the Tigers. And
he captained Zahid Valencia.
pins Zahid, who's an absolute tank. If we're taking peak Daniel Lewis, it's a tough match. All right, Matt, tell us about Jay Borschel.
Jay Borschel is a Linmar Lion out of Marion, Iowa, as am I. So I got a little extra skin in this game. He's a two-time All-American. He was a round of 12 as a junior. He has probably one of the best comebacks in NCAA history in his semifinal matchup versus, I believe, Chris Heinrich of Virginia. I don't know if is that right?
I think that is, yeah.
I believe that is one of the best comebacks, and also pretty much manhandled an otherwise unblemished Mac Lunas in the finals that year. So he is a very sometimes overlooked Hawkeye who also, outside of this year, Spencer Lee, also is the last person to have an undefeated season at the University of Iowa. Fun fact that I don't think many people probably know. So if you take out Spencer Lee this year, he was the last one to do it. And that was in 2010.
And Kemmerer this year was his last match.
Conference finals.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. His last match. He was
yeah. Yep. So
Dan Gable kind of.
That's Jay Borschel.
Didn't Mac Lunas hadn't been taken down at all the entire year?
Not been taken down. He was undefeated as well, and everyone was hyped about the matchup, especially when Borschel looked obviously very, very capable of being beat in the semis, and then he handled him. So that was pretty exciting.
The way I see this match, I mean, Jay Borschel definitely has way, way more stats than Daniel Lewis. Daniel Lewis is only he's a 3-time All-American, took 4th all year, so he's a very good wrestler. He just doesn't match up well in terms of stats with Jay Borschel. And so I think, in this match, Jay Borschel would get out to a huge lead. I don't think Daniel Lewis could stand with him in neutral or anything. But in the third period, Daniel Lewis chooses top, goes crossface cradle, and sticks him for the landmine. And 6-0.
Right out of the gate, huh?
Oh my God!
Come on.
Do anything here?
Come on.
You guys probably saw that one coming. I had to.
Make the duel interesting. I see how it is.
Yeah.
The fact that we only have one more landmine left is kind of sad.
You had to landmine my high school teammate? That's unbelievable.
I will say,
man. Daniel Lewis has a good cradle, though.
It's almost as bad as landmine Matt himself.
So, it wouldn't happen, Sam, but
it very well
is good.
But
very well
yeah,
could. He pins Zahid Valencia.
If it had to happen, that's the only way it could happen because the man has a just stupid good cradle.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, he would not get a cradle on Jay Borschel. He would get taken down and he would get ridden until he is exhausted, and then he wouldn't have any cradle left to give.
All right. Well, I guess, Sam wants to start like that.
Well, you kind of screwed my plan.
We're gonna.
What was your plan, Dyson?
Well, it wasn't with that match, but it's.
Don't give up your secrets. Okay?
Give it up, Dyson.
So
he's going landmine the next one against Max Askren.
I don't want to take the landmine away from Matt though. I want to let him have.
You want me to do the landmine?
Yeah, I will let Matt use the landmine. I will not use the landmine.
Well,
don't do that. I don't want you to let me use this.
You guys are crazy. Stop talking about it.
184 pounds. We have the mullet, the best Big Ten interview in the history of wrestling. Until Kyle Dake and Jordan Burroughs got together on that show a couple days ago, that was probably my favorite. Can you let me finish my sentence, Sam? Until Jordan Burroughs and Kyle Dake got on FRL the other day, I think that was easily my favorite wrestling media moment in my life. That was awesome. So the mullet taking on NCAA champ Max Askren. Besides being an NCAA champ, what all are Max Askren's stats, Jude?
All right, Max Askren is heralded as one of the most decorated wrestlers in Mizzou history. He won an NCAA championship. He's a 3-time All-American, taking 7th and 5th. And he actually was bouncing around weight classes too. He dropped the weight class to 184, where he won his title in 2010. Several-time conference champion, 4-year starter. Max Askren is the brother of Ben Askren, and doesn't have quite the same haircut. I mean, maybe. Hey, guys, are Ben Askren and Max Askren brothers?
You missed Matt. You missed
explain to Matt.
The Minnesota.
All right, I'll tell him. I'll tell him, Jacob. I'll own my own mistake. It slipped my mind, but I asked for clarification and of whether Jason Ness and Dylan Ness were brothers.
You did not ask for clarification. You had no idea. There wasn't like are they brothers?
They don't look alike.
Yeah, it was. We said it, and you were like, "What?"
And it was bad because you thought I was joking at first, but I was definitely serious. You guys are like.
Should we let Matt know that Jude left out his coach when making the
No,
Penn
come
State
on,
team?
guys. There's other things to talk about.
Yeah, don't need to roast Jude too much. I mean, he's all hyped up on coffee. He doesn't know how to handle it right now.
Man, my brain is fried.
Each minute.
I got the coffee in my veins, and I can't think. All right, let's go to let's talk about this matchup.
All right, so Sammy Brooks, Max Askren. You told us a little bit about Max. What can you tell us about Sammy, Matt?
Sammy Brooks, a 3-time All-American. I believe he got 7th, 4th. No. What did he get? 7th, 7, 5? Or 4? Sorry.
I can tell you in 1 second.
Or maybe 7, 5, 4. All I know is his senior year was 4th, and I believe his first year was 7th. I don't know that in between years.
He was only a 2-time All-American.
Yeah.
2-time? Okay, sorry. That's right.
8th in 2016, 4th in 2017.
8th to 4th. That's right. So he's a 2-time All-American.
And his snake.
And I do believe also a 2-time Big Ten champ, which is very underrated. People don't understand. The Big Ten tournament is just like a concentrated NCAA tournament. Obviously, there's a larger pool of talent at the NCAA tournament, but the Big Ten tournament, for the most part, is not a small pool of talent, and he won that twice. So that's not to be. And he did it with a fluffed and feathered mullet. So that's
a gorgeous mullet.
That's a little extra something. He is currently still competing internationally, and he is pretty tough hombre. So this is I like this matchup.
Matt, is the mullet, is it natural or is it a perm?
Oh, it's natural, man. That's just
natural.
That's just straight let it flow.
100% natural.
There was a bunch of kids at the PIAA state tournament this year who were getting perms for their mullets. I would look at them and be like.
So also, did he before he gave the interview, did you guys know that was going to happen?
I don't think it. I'm sure maybe a couple guys on the team knew. I have no idea. All I know is it's straight Sammy Brooks style. He just cusp was like, I'm just not going to – I don't know if he said it to anyone, but you could just see it in his face when he was giving the interview, like, I'm just not going to say one serious word in this, and I'm just going to talk about my mullet. Why not?
Well, no, the funny thing was he sounded like his voice and his tone was like he was giving a normal interview.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's what I'm saying. He's really good at that.
That was the funniest thing.
He could talk about anything and be serious about it. It's just it's like a debate,
I had Shane Sparks on for an interview, and I was talking to him about that interview, and he's like, I just didn't know what to do. Like, he was just.
He should have kept it going. It was
like
a 50-second interview.
I think it's so great because both of them managed to stay serious the whole time.
Yeah, because the first question, I don't even know what it was, some like general question. He just said about his mullet being fluffed and feathered for Indiana, and then Shane Sparks ended up asking a question about trust, and then he still stuck with the mullet and went about every time my mullet grows.
He said something about consistency and about his consistency throughout the season, and he goes, "Hey, it's the same way as a mullet.
Mullet in a day, you can't win
a Big Ten title in a day." Maybe the best quote ever.
I remember Shane Sparks being like, "Well, I don't know where to go from there."
Yeah.
But fortunately, we know where to go. So Sammy Brooks, Max Askren. God.
So the Twitter poll had 67% in favor of Max Askren, 33% in favor of Sammy Brooks.
As hardcore of an Iowa fan as I am, I got to go Askren here, man. Peak of both careers, I think Max would win this match.
He was so good in his career. I'm going to follow suit.
Give me Max Askren. He has the NCAA title. He did the dang thing. And if we're taking peak here, I'll take the title over. Over Fourier's.
Look at Dyson.
He was also 1 point away from a major decision in the finals.
That's true. He was very good.
Which is very hard to do.
Dyson's ready. Does he bring Miss Hist on the mat with him, Dyson?
Matt, would you like to go or would you like me to go?
You can go.
Landmine! I'm landmining it. Sorry, landmining it. Max Askren pins him. He
You
pins
can't
him.
do that.
It's over.
No, you can't do that.
I pinned him.
No, you can't do that.
84.
You changed your
Max
pick.
Askren in the
You
funky one.
changed- You can't. He can't do
It's a
that.
title locked
No,
up.
he
Pins
cannot
Sammy
do that.
Brooks. I did it.
No,
I did
no.
it. Hold on.
Hey.
It's okay because
Okay.
dude just landmined a probable win. So just burn your landmine, buddy. That's okay.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Come on.
Okay.
Poor use.
Are you okay?
That's okay.
You realize we got a Spencer Lee. You know, we got all these kinds of. Oh man, yeah.
Oh,
good.
but the
We're good.
landmine gets you a pin, huh? Okay.
Holy
I may have just woke the
smokes.
rest of my family up for that one. Jeez.
So you're gonna go with so now they have a 12-point lead, huh?
12-point lead.
Oh my
Dude, just
goodness gracious,
hating on
Dyson.
the Hawks. This is unbelievable.
This
This
is
is
awful.
unbelievable.
Dude, you're
Okay.
gonna pay for
Holy
that.
smokes.
All right,
I did
well,
not
Talk
pick
about
those.
You're
home
gonna
ad
pay for
advantage. Home ad advantage. You guys are straight home cooking this thing.
You are gonna pay for that.
Oh my God.
Straight home cooking.
Freaking Hawkeye hater.
The reason we have the two landmines. Reason we have the two landmines per duel now is because of these two down here. Because Sam, Michigan should have won that duel and should be in this duel right now, but Sam chose to use a third landmine on the duel. And then after that duel, I was like, all right, look, no, shutting this crap down. There's only two per duel because
you can't
gotta
make
keep
me
it
do that
realistic.
for this duel. Come on.
But all right, whatever. It happened. I don't want to talk about it.
We're gonna talk
197.
about this after the show, Duke Swisher.
Nathan Burak versus Jaden Cox. You know, these are two great guys, and we have to remember when we're talking about this too. Even with all the recency bias of Jaden winning a couple of world titles, not getting scored on, we're talking about their collegiate careers. So all that kind of stuff is not in the conversation. We're just talking about when they were stepping on the mat for the NC2A titles. But Jaden Cox, you want to go ahead and get us started, Jude?
All right, Jaden Cox, world champion. Matt, he beat
Not this time.
Okay, not this time. Never mind. I take it all back.
He is though.
Take that landmine back too.
No, sir. He's a 3-time national champion.
For the record, I believe Jude went out of turn to take a landmine, so we'll just leave that there. He just
Hey, listen, man. When the landmine happens,
your teachers teach you to raise your hand in class.
sorry,
It's unbelievable.
homeschooled, baby. I don't gotta raise no hands.
Unbelievable.
Homeschooled savage.
All right. Well, I mean, what else can I say? 3-time national champ. There we go. Jaden Cox.
Yep.
Thank you.
Kyle Snyder, I believe, in college, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
During
He
the season?
did.
Well, who
Well,
beat?
Nathan Burak though, so Nathan Burak beat Kyle Snyder in college.
Did he really?
He did. He really
I didn't
did.
know that. So
Who beat
Wow.
Jaden in the semis?
Kyle Snyder,
Uh,
2015.
It was Kyle.
Snyder?
Yep.
Yeah.
Ankle. Low single.
Okay. So
One takedown match.
It's so exciting.
All right, on the other
Jaden Cox in college. These two have wrestled in college.
yeah.
Jaden Cox winning by I think a takedown. I want to say.
Jaden Cox, didn't he made an Olympic team his senior year and took bronze. Was that his senior year?
I think it was his junior year.
Or after his junior year, before
Yeah.
his senior.
That's
So hey, we can count that too. It's in
Bronze
his
in the
career.
Olympics.
All right. Well, 197. Matt, you want to tell us about Burak?
Nathan Burak, 3-time All-American, I believe. 8th, 7th, 4th. I may be a little off.
Yep, you're exactly right.
874.
Not a bad memory. I haven't looked any of this up. I'm just going off the top of my head, by the way. So I'm not like you guys. I've not done my due diligence research. Fortunately, I know most of these Hawkeyes pretty well. So Nathan Burak was a staple in the Iowa lineup. 3-time All-American, getting obviously better each year. Very consistent performer, and he's had a match against Jaden Cox and put himself in position to win. So I don't think this is any kind of a pushover here.
All right, so Matt McDonough, who you got in this match?
You know, I'm going to try to be objective, and I'm going to say Jaden Cox, simply on the fact that they've wrestled once and Jaden won. Every ounce of me wants to say Nathan Burak. I could, for just the sake of being insanely biased and making it a fun virtual thing, but we'll try to be objective. I'm still pretty salty about this landmine pin. I didn't know we could just throw pins out anywhere.
Not anymore, you can't.
But a conspiracy over here against the Hawkeyes. That's okay.
I think this match is way
It'll come back to bite you in the lightweights.
Maybe we'll see.
Oh, come on. Are you serious? It's not going to end well, I don't think.
Yeah, so this match, I think it's a close one. It's a good match. But at the end of the day, Jaden Cox is literally too slippery for Burak to hold on to. So
literally.
Oh no.
So yeah, we'll go Cox.
I'll follow suit. Take Jaden Cox. Also, like a one takedown match for Jaden Cox. You know, it might seem like it's close, but also like he's just very good at winning one takedown matches. So,
hey, don't downplay it, Nathan.
I'm not.
Right
yeah, I'm sorry.
I have a picture of Jaden Cox, who is very, very tired after that match, in Carver Hawkeye, and I kept it for
purposes
firepower for Nathan Burak. I mean, you gotta show him like what you were able to do to your opponent. You got him tired, so you're closer than you think.
Awesome.
This match
That's really cool.
Definitely way closer than at first glance. I think Nathan Burak barely, and it's funny, I would not expect everyone, well, Dyson hasn't gotten his pick in, but I would not really expect everyone to pick Jaden Cox for this one. Burak was really, really good. And, like, a head-to-head win would normally mean a lot, but to me in this circumstance, since we're taking peak of your career, a head-to-head win leaves a lot of room for vagueness and stuff like that.
The problem is taking peak Jaden Cox. I mean, 3-time national champ. His one year not. He got 5th and was in the bracket, I believe, with Kyle Snyder and Kyvan Gadsden. So, you know, based on body of work, Jaden Cox is pretty tough.
He struggled with conditioning in his career though, and against an Iowa guy, and especially Nathan Burak, that's not a good position to struggle in. So there is a path to victory for Burak. Dyson, who you got?
Give me Nathan Burak by takedown.
Oh, wow.
All right.
I told you he was a Hawkeye homer, man.
I know. I should switch my vote.
I would have taken Cox, but
It's still
with that 184-pound match,
I could take.
I don't think I'll pick a Tiger the rest of the match.
Wow.
Yeah.
There might be some virtual fist thrown.
Oh no!
I will point out, just for the fans, for the people listening, Jaden Cox was one of the first people to vote on Twitter for this duel. So pretty cool.
Did he vote for
I
himself?
wonder who he voted for.
I don't know. He didn't tell me who he voted for, but it kind of blew my mind. You know, I'm sitting there on the couch just hanging out, and I look down at my phone, and it's like, Twitter, you have a message from Jaden Cox. It's like
oh,
what?
Dude, we should get him on. Should get him on the horn. All right, let's move to 285.
He'll
Not
attack
if Missouri
me, bro.
loses, they won't be in it.
Not if I can do anything about it.
Well, you
All
can't
right.
do
How can you
more
do anything
really,
about
though.
it? You used your
Can't do
landmine.
anything.
You already used your landmine.
It's
I mean,
over,
really.
dude.
Yeah.
Is it over?
Y'all's time in the spotlight is over.
Really,
Now sit
really
back
over.
and watch this beating you're about to take.
All right, let me run it down to Dom Bradley at 285 pounds.
This one's
Well-
pretty one-sided in my opinion.
John Bradley versus Telford.
Yeah.
Well, Bradley was a multiple time All-American, I believe. Never won it, but he transferred, I'm pretty sure, to Missouri, and then in his first season at the Hawkeyes, not the Hawkeyes. I'm sorry, at Mizzou, he stepped in the lineup, won All-American honors. I'm sorry, this bio is actually very difficult to read. It doesn't have him right out for you. But yeah, no, that's about it. He's been a really, really consistent guy, and he's looking to have a pretty good senior level career as well. So
He is.
then Matt, tell us
Anthony
about.
Cassar this year.
Yeah, he beat Anthony Cassar. Grown man strength.
Didn't
All
he
right.
break Anthony Cassar this year?
Oh no.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
Hey,
That is-
listen, we're not talking about 4 or 5
That's
years
true.
after college.
Yeah, that's
John
true.
Bradley, okay?
We're staying.
Stop trying to pump him up. Like, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Don Bradley and his best season, whatever that may be.
Yep.
Bobby Telford was the 3-time All-American, finishing,
Let's see if you get it right.
fourth, fifth.
Fifth, fourth, fifth.
Fifth, fourth, fifth. I knew there was a fourth in there. I didn't know the first one. And actually, I was in the tournament that he didn't place in. I also did not place or maybe that was I believe that might have been the year I did not place. He had a pretty serious knee injury that he could not compete on. So he was very well poised to be a 4-time All-American. Very consistent performer. Definitely was had pin capabilities, had big point capabilities. Probably I would say more so than Don Bradley. And these two I may have also met one match in their career.
I feel like they should have.
I believe they may have at the national duels in 2013, but don't quote me.
I just want to say real quick that the Iowa trainer they better be completely focused on Anthony Cassiope's knee, because Iowa heavyweights' knees are just not good, ever.
Not good.
Well,
Like getting shot.
an injury is one thing, a bullet's another thing, Sam. So
Well,
Yeah, I have no comment on any
Sam
of this.
Stoll,
They're all cranking away.
oh yeah.
Sam Stoll had he didn't just take a bullet to the knee. He had a lot more than that. He had so many injuries.
Matt, your senior year is that same year you're talking about Telford being hurt. You were hurt as well, right?
Yeah.
Matt, so what happened? Did Tom and Terry just beat on y'all before the NCAA tournament, or cause
No, I had an injury and some obviously weight was tough that year, but I had an injury that was affecting me, and it doesn't really change anything. I lost 2 matches in overtime to All-American. I was in the quarters and lost to Nashon, and then I was in the backside and lost to Trent Sprinkle, who I pinned the year before in overtime. So, 1 takedown in 2 matches, and you're an All-American for a 4th time. I got to live with that, but it's part of life.
absolutely. Usually the adversity is what makes you better
I
later in
definitely
life.
appreciate the knowledge and perspective I've gained from it, but if I could do a time hop and make myself just a little bit better and go win those matches, I don't think there's a question I would.
Absolutely. And there's no question from our end that you would have won them. Definitely would have been great to see. But where are we? Yeah, so where are we voting? For me, Bobby Telford all day. Easy.
I got to go with the Bobby Telford here.
Thank you,
Bobby Telford.
Bobby.
Dang, I love it. Bobby Telford. No
All time.
The folk style matchup. Don Bradley, I believe, in a freestyle matchup is a lot different animal than folk style, and
I agree.
got to give it to Bobby Telford, who is a very, very tough top wrestler and a complete package in folk style.
And how about that? The Hawkeyes are finally on the board.
Hey, you just wait.
Making a
After
comeback.
home cooking.
I'm not picking another Missouri. This is
Yeah,
gonna
no,
this is gonna be awful. Poor Jude.
All right. Well, We're going around.
Even has 15 is ridiculous considering there's only 3 wins and there should probably only be 2.
Wait, hold on.
Mm-hmm. Definitely should only be 2 right now. It should be 6-9.
Hold on, I just realized something, guys.
What,
This
Sam?
might be over already.
The whole match?
You can only score 30. Well, never mind. Never mind. I take that back. Hold on.
You just let it play out. We'll just
Right.
pretend like we don't know what's going to happen.
All right. It's gonna be.
All right. Well,
Sam, stop speaking.
Uh-oh.
It's gonna be good.
Oh.
My heart just started beating really fast. This isn't good.
125 pounds. Man, we just spent 30 so minutes talking about Spencer Lee versus Alan Waters. Oh, man. All right, Jude, get us started off. Alan Waters.
Alan Waters, NCAA finalist, multiple time.
No, he wasn't. Yeah.
No, shoot.
No, he wasn't. Come on.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Third place. Third place in his peak. 4-time qualifier, 2-time All-American. 4-year starter. Real tough guy. And I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I already blew it so bad. I might as well just stop. I might as well just leave the show.
You're fine.
And then what else to say about Spencer Lee? We kind of already talked about him a whole bunch.
He's kind of good at wrestling. 2-time national champ, Hodge Trophy winner, poised to win another 3rd national title.
Matt McDonough,
So.
you know something about him? I don't know if
Well,
you know it or
3 for
not,
3.
but he won the silver.
He's pretty good at wrestling. He can put up bonus points. If it was allowed, this could be a landmine just to get the extra 3. But you guys tried to steal the duel, and let's be serious. Spencer Lee with the unrecognized bonus points against Alan Waters for a major tech fall victory.
Unrecognized, though.
See,
Now,
this is where I think that
jinx.
No. So, Sam, when we started this thing, my original thought was bonus points are okay as long as all the people that pick are unanimous. So, like, if we all pick Spencer Lee, we all agree on a major, then it would go. I think that would be good. Sam shut me down, and I'm pretty sure he was looking forward and trying to beat the Hawkeyes at some point. Or keep matches close to Penn State. I think it was conspiracy.
I told you I'm voting for the Hawkeyes to win this duel. I thought it would make it way more interesting though if this happened.
Is Sam a Penn State homer?
No.
I'm the opposite of it.
No. Whoa, opposite. I didn't know you. I thought you were unbiased, but.
So what's your team?
Did you just say you're voting for them, but you started the duel off by pinning an Iowa guy?
Yes.
It's got to be interesting. Got to be entertaining.
I'm telling you, I'm voting for the Hawkeyes to win right now. If I keep voting this way.
Oh, right now.
Okay, you are not following. Yeah,
I can't believe. I mean, Daniel Lewis pinning the national champ. He's done it before. I guess that's not as crazy as you throwing out Max Askren's going to pin Sammy Brooks. But hey, all these could happen. Sammy Brooks has been pinned before. Jay Borschel hasn't, but Daniel Lewis is also a pinner. So.
I think it's justified. I think Daniel Lewis, the pin is justified, and it makes the duel way more interesting.
We just got we didn't even have a discussion, and there's 5 checks for Spencer Lee, so that's a wrap.
If anybody ever tells me something else, I'm going to kick him out of this meeting. So.
Alan Waters left-handed headlock.
Yeah, okay.
Have you seen that match where he pushes and then just pulls and then just rips a mean headlock? Oh, that's a good one.
I don't know. I just remember him and Gilman wrestling that match. That was the I don't even know what you call it. Gilman power bombed him or whatever you want to call it. That was fun to watch. Exciting.
Gilman's another one who didn't make this lineup.
Hey, he took one on me my senior year. Alan Waters did. He took one on me my senior year. I don't believe he All-Americaned that year. But he may have. He All-American that year, and then he redshirted. But
Waters is one of the guys I wish committed more to the freestyle scene. But
I would have loved to wrestle Alan Waters another time in my career, but unfortunately, it was not at my best. He's a formidable opponent, but Spencer Lee absolutely rips this one apart.
Yeah, 6-0. Or 6-15, excuse me.
It's just so crazy. I mean, it's just another level. I mean, we keep beating the dead horse, but like, I mean, when you talk about all decade teams, I think it's kind of fair to be like, all right, well, we're not going to do too many bonus points, if at all, because these guys are all really good in their own right. I think Spencer Lee's one of the only guys in this whole tournament that you could be like, yeah, he's going to bonus his way through this tournament.
Well, the reason I said no bonus was for the early rounds when we have a short number of people and we're using Twitter polls. It's really hard to get votes from people on Twitter, but I agree. For the semifinals, we're doing bonus semifinals and on.
Listen, Brent Metcalf, Drake Howdeshell, I'm telling you right now, everyone says they'd like to see it, but I watched Brent Metcalf firsthand. Could be a bonus point win. Very
Sam, what if you did something for the Twitter polls, like if it was over a certain percentage for one guy? That's bonus.
We don't need bonus points in the Twitter poll. We just need to know who they think will win. We decide the bonus points.
We could figure that out. We can work it out.
But let's go ahead and jump down. Spencer all day. 133 Corey Clark / Tony Ramos versus John. Is it Ernesty?
Yeah, Ernesty.
All right.
Ernesty or Ornesty, whichever you prefer, because we don't know.
I'm going to call him John. So,
okay.
Johnny.
Dude, tell me about John.
3-time NCAA qualifier, 1-time All-American.
Funky guy. He
bonused the crap out of RBY when they wrestled in the Consi. What's the round after the blood round? Consi of 8?
Consi of 8, yeah.
6?
Well,
4?
The next round.
The next one.
There's a name for it.
Consi semis, maybe?
No, it's the round before. It's the semis.
After the blood round?
Yeah.
Consi quarters.
Consi quarters. Right. Ernesty's a beast on top. All-American at 133 pounds that year when 133 was wild. With so many guys who
you guys remember? You remember who he beat in the round of 12 that year?
Who did he?
Anybody?
I do not.
Here, 1 second. I'll look it up.
Tariq.
No, don't look it up.
He beat Tariq.
Beat Tariq in the round of 12.
It's got to be the craziest round of 12 because then RBY beat Mickey Philippi, who had a win over like Dayton Fix, and
y'all look it up and verify that I'm right, but I'm like 98% sure.
I believe you. That's a good win.
Yeah, that was a definitely.
But if you guys don't know, Corey Clark, probably one of the most underrated NCAA tournaments his senior year of the bracket he went through. I mean,
the
outrageous.
messed up shoulder too.
Who was his first round matchup was with an All-American, Earl Hall. He beat Earl Hall. He beat Nathan Tomasillo. He beat Miocic. He beat Seth Gross. That's 4 of the 5 wins he won over guys who are either on Olympic teams, are All-Americans, are NCAA champions. That's a pretty solid tournament. And the best part is he was running on a torn shoulder and just absolutely savvied his way through every match. Won every match. Weren't pretty beautiful matches, but he just toughed them out, every one.
And then he lat dropped Terry Brands.
I was going to say, the most underrated win was the lat drop of Terry Brands.
He got his biggest points of the whole tournament after the tournament ended. And beat to back.
That was awesome.
Still one of the best celebrations to this
That's
day.
up there with one of the loudest times the NCAA tournament's ever had.
Oh, yeah. You got Corey Clark, who's a 3-time finalist, 4-time All-American, Big Ten champion, 1 time, I believe.
Wasn't that great match with NATO?
Yes.
It came down to the last second.
I remember that. And he got the escape from a sit-back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
I remember that match. And also, of note, grew up and wrestled for Seabolt Wrestling Academy. So that's one of their first guys to come through.
And a little known statistic or fact or whatever, there's only one man that is the reason that Thomas Gilman is not a 4-time NCAA All-American or didn't have the chance. Corey Clark beat him out in the lineup their freshman year.
Yep.
So, with all that, it's a pretty clear decision. It's Corey Clark.
Corey Clark, all day.
You know, in my opinion, this is either Corey Clark by big or John Ernesty by pin, because Ernesty's just so crazy.
That ain't happening.
But you already used your pin.
It's,
So.
When's
I
the
wouldn't
last
do
time
it.
you saw Corey Clark get pinned?
I wouldn't do it.
In
But
folk style.
I'm just saying, if anybody would vote for Ernesty, it could only be a pin. So
Well, there's no more of those landmines left.
no,
Nope.
and I'm not saying there should be. I'm just
I
saying
believe
if somebody
Corey
were
Clark,
to vote,
shout out to one of my old coaches, Pablo Bassa. I believe Corey Clark wrestled for Pablo Bassa as well, along with Derek St. John and Jay Borschel and myself. So there's a few guys on this list that are coached by him. He's had a pretty good track record with Iowa guys in the past himself.
yeah.
All right. Well, 141.
Moving up the board.
We've got Montel Marion versus Jaden Ironman. I think that this, if you ask me, is probably the highlight match of the duel. I think it'd definitely be the one that would be the most fun to watch, if you ask me. And in my opinion, I think Montel Marion might be one of the top guys that ever won a title.
I agree.
So, Jaden Ironman, we'll go ahead and start off. Jude, tell us about Jaden Ironman, who is now actually a Hawkeye.
Years, right?
He's a Hawkeye.
How funny is that?
He is a Hawkeye.
Yeah.
So if you vote for Ironman,
You're voting for Iowa.
So would he
You're going for Missouri? Look at the board.
So
All right.
would he be more upset if you vote against him in this match, or if you vote for Iowa to win this match?
he'd be more upset if he voted for
I don't know him, so
Marion.
I can't say. But yeah, I'm taking Iowa all day.
Nice. All right. Well, so Jaden Ironman, 3-time All-American.
You said 2-time, right?
He's a 3-timer.
3-time All-American.
3-time All-American.
Really?
Yeah,
I
one
thought
more.
he
Yeah.
had 2 years.
He was
So he's
third.
only gonna have
He was
1 year
fifth,
with Iowa.
fourth, and then third.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's going.
Oh my
he took
goodness.
an Olympic red shirt this year, and now next year is going to.
But he's had a whole year in the Hawkeye room. So I mean, just think of the jumps he could have made.
And the Bluebird Diner, man, you eat at that for a year. I mean,
That is some good food.
pretty good.
Power.
Cinnamon roll French toast is the way I go.
They all eat at this place called the Dandelion now, I think. I don't know.
That's also a good place. I haven't been there yet, but I've heard it's really good.
So I think he's one of the favorites to win the title next year for sure. 3-time All-American, possibly a 4-time All-American, and is now a Hawkeye. So Matt, tell us about Montel
Can I
Marion.
just say real quick before we move on to Montel, I do not like how Jaden Ironman took an Olympic red shirt and did not compete at barely any international competition.
He wrestled at Senior Open, and then he lost to Nick Lee like the first round or second round or whatever.
Like, if you're going to take
They
an
came all
Olympic
the
red
way
shirt,
back.
try to make the Olympic team. And I get it got canceled and everything, but
He just knew it was going to get canceled, so he didn't feel he had to.
Oh man,
Hey, that's his Olympic red shirt. He can use it however the heck he wants. Man.
Peanut gallery.
I know he can. I'm just saying. I
Don't
don't
talk
really
bad
like
about my
competition.
Hawkeyes.
wait, I have a question. I wonder if Ironman took the Olympic red shirt because he knew he was moving to Iowa, and it was probably an easier
That was definitely
transition
part
for
of
him.
it. He knew he was.
Well-
he knew he was training.
And yeah, it was probably an easier.
All right. Let's stay on task here.
Sorry.
Montel Marion was one of the more underrated Hawkeyes. Not winning a title, obviously, when you're in a room like Iowa, makes you a little less remembered. But if people don't remember, as a sophomore in the lineup, he got second to a freshman, Kyle Dake. He then got, I believe, fourth place at the next year's tournament. And then as a senior, lost a very tough match to Kellen Russell in the finals. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Kellen Russell in the finals. So he was an animal for a Hawkeye, and notoriously was a hard hand fighter and did not get tired. Won a lot of matches just on pure toughness and grit and stamina. He was a very talented and tough Hawkeye, and in this matchup, this was probably the one that took me the most thinking when I'm, to looking at both sides completely objective, trying not to be a homer, Hawkeye, or biased. Probably the one that's the most back and forth of how it could go.
Mm-hmm.
But based on fundamental skills, I'm giving this one to Montel Marion by decision. I think it's a very close, tough matchup, but I think just based on solid hand fighting and scoring on good opportunities, I would take Montel Marion.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think one of the stats that kind of stuck out to me was, like you said, he was a 2-time finalist, and in those matches, he was in both of them, good matches. But the two guys that he faced in the finals have a combined 6 NCAA titles. So, I mean, we've talked about it on the show several times. I think, my next thing we're going to do on HMAF is going to be I'm going to put together a best to never win it bracket. And Montel Marion is, dude, right up in there.
Definitely got to be up there. Fun fact,
up the top.
Myself, Montel Marion, and Dan Dennis were all 133-pounders my redshirt freshman year, my first year at Iowa. So you went from 3 guys at the same weight to 3 guys at 3 weights. And we all made the finals the next year.
Yeah.
And so I got to ask, all right, so that had to be a crazy practice room. Because what are you thinking?
Oh, yeah.
Ramos, Marion.
Ramos wasn't there that year. That was the next year. But you had myself, Montel Marion, Joe Slayton, Daniel Dennis,
Metcalf,
Charlie Falk, Brett Metcalf, all in 2008, 2009. That was all in that room. Myself and Montel Marion were redshirting. Charlie Falk was senior. Alex Surtsis, very underrated. Obviously, his track record at the NCAAs is not as good as it could have been, but I can tell you from being that guy's practice partner my freshman year,
He was very good.
Incredible wrestler.
So you guys are all
not a bad room.
Yeah, well, you guys are all a little bit different weights, obviously, but that's a bunch of hammers in the room. You got to know. Obviously, you guys are wrestling, live and going with each other. Who gets the best in that group of everybody?
Well, I certainly wasn't the one getting the best of everyone. I won't be over here trying to puff out my chest. I took a lot of lumps. It made me what I was on the mat in the in Carver Hawkeye Arena, but it was one of those things where you never knew every day. I mean, anybody could beat up anybody any given day, and you're talking about knockdown, drag out, back alley, battles. I think that's what helped make us all tougher. Is it wasn't like you had an off day. It wasn't like you had some light day. No matter what, you were going with someone who was coming for you.
Matt, how did you adjust to being, a real good high school wrestler to coming into the Iowa room, which is full of studs around your weight class? What was that transition period like for you?
It's hard from the aspect that you're wrestling way higher level opponents, but I was very lucky in high school. I was never I didn't start out as the guy who won every tournament he ever went to. I didn't beat every guy in the practice room. I was always the guy who kind of showed up for competition, so to speak, which now who knows what that means. But
right.
I was fortunate to wrestle with a lot of guys from Iowa City West, trained with them, who they all were nationally recognized and had very good careers. And I was used to taking beatings in a practice room. Not saying that it was the, everyday thing, but it was not something where I was used to just getting my way with everyone. So I came into the Iowa room kind of expecting all right, you're gonna take some butt lickings, but all you got to do is just keep showing up every day and trying to get better.
Matt, did you ever want to quit?
No. I mean, there's times where your pride's hurt or your not even motivation, but just, your your excitement is a little bit down because you had a really tough go at it, and you go in again and you live for it. You go in again and live to have the opportunity to beat someone that is coming before you. I mean, just have a chance to go wrestle Dan Dennis or Charlie Falk or Alex Serta. So those guys were seniors when I was freshman, and thinking like, all my goal is just to figure out how I'm going to beat them. And that's how you spend a whole redshirt year. Once you have one day where you even can like tell yourself, hey, I know I can beat them, whether you beat them in the practice or not, because what does that even mean?
Right.
Then now all of a sudden your perspective has changed, and your motivation and your confidence is starting to change. And then you're like, if I can hang with these guys, I can go beat anybody in the country. And then that's, get a chance and you run with it.
I think one of the really cool things just popped in my head while you're talking, thinking about it, is, like at that time where you're talking about all those guys are in the room, that's back, Iowa was winning all the titles, right? And so Iowa was the today's Penn State. And I think looking at those two programs, how different the room is. And I think it's incredible. Like, the sport is so cool that you can have so much success in so many different ways. You're talking about like Iowa in the room, your words you're using are like, back alley brawls and like all that, just like going at it, like fighting. And then whereas you got the Penn State, everybody kind of hears that the room is like, play wrestling and kind of like fun and dodgeball. And like, not like, Iowa wasn't, didn't have fun times or you weren't having fun, but it's complete like polar opposite sounding,
Right. And like Penn State, I've heard that they won't have practices longer than like 45 minutes at the most.
And I think a lot of it's the narrative, because look
Right.
at a perfect example is Jason Knopf or Zane Rutherford or Bo Nickel or David Taylor. When those guys get on the mat, it's not like they're just having fun. I mean,
yeah,
it's all about the way you describe it, because the way Jason Knopf's having fun and the way Brent Metcalf's having fun, or even compare Brent Metcalf to Zane Rutherford. Same weight class, just different timelines. It's the same thing. They are trying to demoralize their opponent.
Yeah.
They're trying to make their opponent never think they can ever win again. And that's what you learned in the room. So it's really just the way they describe it. But I can tell you one thing, it's probably the same in both rooms, in that when you wrestle with guys of that caliber and you gain confidence in your own abilities by scoring points on, think about Vincenzo Joseph and Jason Knopf wrestling. Vincenzo Joseph throws him on his back. How much confidence do you have? You just threw Jason Knopf on his back. He's older than you, won a national title or been right there. So that's immediate vindication that, well, now I know I can beat anybody in the country. So it was just that way in the Iowa room. You wrestled guys that were tough enough that you beat them, and then you get into Carver Hawkeye in a big duel, and you're still highly nervous for the matchup, but you're not nervous in your ability to beat that opponent. You're nervous because you want to perform at your highest level. You're not wondering whether you're good enough or not.
Absolutely. So you voted for Marion. Yeah, I got Marion too, man. Got Marion. I'm really excited to see Jaden Ironman as a Hawkeye. I think he's definitely one of the guys that always has a puncher's chance no matter what match you put him in. Montel Marion, man.
Sky's the limit. He's in a room with some amazing coaches. I know firsthand. So who knows? It's going to be very fun to see how he comes out next year.
Oh, yeah. I'm going Montel as well. I don't think – and you guys knew I was going with Montel. I said I'm not picking another guy. I just don't see room for Missouri to win another match. But Montel's got to be the guy. And two-time NCAA finalist against two of the best college wrestlers in history, Colin Russell and Kyle Dake. And while Jaden Ironman does have some good stats, he's the only guy to beat Yanni Diakomahalis in his college career so far. I just don't think he matches up. He is a crazy wrestler, and like I said with John Ernesti, if you're going to pick Jaden Ironman, I don't think it's the same, but he's going to win in a really, really funky way.
I think that for Jaden – I think I'll pick Montel, but I will say for Jaden's case, he has a lot of different avenues to score and to put himself in positions where he's good. And you can't always prepare for what he's going to do. So I think that there's a way that he could win, but I won't pick it. So I'll take Montel in this match.
Give me the former Hawk over the current Hawk, Montel Marion.
All right, Dyson. Okay, and with that, we go to 149 pounds. Hey, start us off with talking about Brent Metcalf.
Brent Metcalf, in 3 years as a Hawkeye, because he didn't have that freshman year. I think people forget that. Yep. He was a 3-time finalist, a 2-time champ, a Hodge Trophy winner, and also is on the all-time leaderboard for both winning percentage. I believe he's second all-time in winning percentage as a Hawkeye, and I believe he's in, I want to say, third place for pins in a season, which ironically enough was the year he did not win an NCAA title. But that man was a pinning machine and was very brutal in the folk style wrestling arena.
I'm so stoked to see the Flo film. It's going to be awesome.
I'm excited too. It's gonna
I never realized how good Brent Metcalf was until I started looking him up and researching last night. Like 3 years, 3 national finals, and he won that crazy loaded 2008 bracket, taking out Lance Palmer, Jordan Burroughs, and Bubba Jenkins. I mean,
he was so good. And, like, you ask one of the best wrestlers in American history, Jordan Burroughs, who's the toughest guy you've wrestled? The guy he immediately goes to is Brent Metcalf. Like,
man,
that is so insane. Brent Metcalf was not only an incredible wrestler, but also he was so tough to wrestle and so mean and dirty and such a high pace and everything like that. Nobody wants to wrestle him.
Right, you saw that clip on Flo of him just giving the sauce to Jordan Oliver. Yeah,
when he just
like
him over.
Just ran him over.
Now that's fun right there. You're talking about Penn State guys having fun in the room.
That's Iowa fun.
I'm saying it's all about the way. It's all about the way you get it across. Because you show that clip to everyone at Penn State that's come through, and they're going to be like, yeah, that's awesome.
So you're right.
What do you describe as fun? Yeah, that is. You're right. You hit the nail on the head, Sam. That is fun right there.
It doesn't get more fun than that.
Yeah, and I it's Metcalf, easy for me here.
Not Jaden Cox.
Yeah.
It's not.
Well, Jaden Cox said that was the only match that he did not put a vote in for.
Yeah, like I said, he knows Drake.
Also, Brayton Lee, how it was really hard to vote against him, even though, I mean, Lance Palmer was incredible. It's because he's such a nice guy, and you talk to him and stuff like that. I think Drake Hudeshelt's the same way.
I don't know what to tell you about it last night, Sam. Brayton lefty headlocked Lance Palmer last night. It happened. So
you know what I'm talking about, though. You know exactly what I'm saying. It's the same way with Jaden and Drake, I'm sure.
Dude, let's hear Drake's. I don't even know. Let's hear Drake's.
All right, 2015 national champion, 3-time All-American. He took 5th and 6th in 2014 and 2013, and he's a 4-time qualifier. Big 12 champion, MAC champion, one of the heralded Missouri Tigers. So
I don't think people remember too. He, I think it might have been his junior year. He was the favorite to win NCAAs one year and didn't. So he won an NCAA title and he had another year where he could have. Things go a little bit differently, and we could have been talking about a 2-time versus a 2-timer.
Dude, you've said heralded about the guys a couple times. Is that just what they like to use in the bio, or is that a word you like to use?
That's a word Jude saw before we got on this morning.
I was doing a little. I was practicing my English. Yeah.
Just trying to work on our vocabulary skills here.
Dude, all we got to do is we just got to use more words and expand our horizons. So.
All right. Is anyone taking Drake Hudesheldt here?
If it was possible, I would take Brent Metcalf by bonus. And I know Drake is a NCAA champ, but if you don't remember, Brent Metcalf has bonus point several NCAA champs before. So that's not out of the realm of possibility either.
It's not that Hudeshelt is a bad wrestler by any means, but it's just Brent Metcalf might be on a whole different level here. So.
Did you wrestle with Metcalf? I've
wrestled with him a few times. Obviously, I was considerably smaller, but I've wrestled with him several times. I can tell you, the lefty high C, every time. Still mad about that. I could never usually stop that lefty high C, because when I wrestled him, he was post grad. When I would wrestle with him, and man, every time he hit me in that post left high single, and I still am mad that I didn't stop it or figure out how to never let him get it. It was a very good shot, to say the least.
Now, Jude, you were talking about the Penn State guys having fun. That right there is not fun.
Well, dude, speaking of not fun, Brock Zackerl was telling me about this time he wrestled Metcalf at the Olympic Training Center, and maybe we'll get him back on someday and let him tell his story, because he can tell it way better than I can. But punches were almost thrown, so we'll just tease that.
Another day in the wrestling room.
Just another day. All right, let's go to 157 pounds, and
I'm feeling a little bit better about this duel now.
Yep.
Well, hold on. I got
to update the score.
We got 5 wins, so that'd be 15. It's already 15.
It's all tied up. Can Joey LaValle and Connor Flynn take it from?
No. Okay.
All right.
Dude, you can't do it by yourself. You need a couple more people. You better invite some more Penn State homers on.
Tell us about Joey LaValle.
He's a 4-time NCAA qualifier. 1 year he had a Cinderella run, made the finals, and lost to I don't remember who we lost to. Shoot. Jason. I was thinking about I got confused because I was thinking about Le'Veon Mays, who also lost to Rutherford. So I got a little confused there. Both Missouri guys. LaValle had a
Penn State guy.
All right. LaValle had a really good career. Unfortunately, he was not able to duplicate his national finals performance across his other years, but definitely a solid Tiger here. And Matt McDonough, tell us about Derek St. John, please.
Derek St. John, longtime teammate of mine. Wrestled with him a lot through all the way from youth wrestling all the way up through college. He's a 4-time All-American, a 2-time finalist and a national champion. He got 4th, 2nd, 1st, and 5th, I believe. I'm not sure if he won a Big Ten title ever, but he is the definition of a tough, hard-nosed, if there's a way to win, he's going to find it kind of guy. Not every match was pretty, but this was a guy that I watched time and time again win on just sheer grit and tenacity of I'm not going to let this person beat me. I don't know if he was the last person to beat him, but he owned a pretty good track record against Alex Derringer, which is obviously no slouch. And he also lost to Kyle Dake, one of the other Kyle Dake finals victories. So in his first year in the finals, he lost to Kyle Dake. He's talk about just a hard-nosed Iowa kid. That's Derek St. John's one of those guys. I am going to give this to Derek St. John by decision. And again, just a sheer toughness victory right here.
I agree with you on that. I'm going to take Derek St. John in this match.
Yep, I definitely agree as well. I think just to talk about LaValle for a second real quick, I remember it was at NCAA's. I believe it was the year he made it to the finals. Sal Mastriani in the second round.
Pins and Medford?
I don't know if you remember there was a crazy roll through move that LaValle hit and he pinned him right at the end. I don't know if you guys remember that. That was an awesome. I don't even know what it was. I mean, it was I think it was off a Mastriani shot and he dove through and rolled and ended up catching him on his back. I don't even know what words to put with it, but it was pretty awesome. That was a cool highlight for him.
And Dyson, you got LaValle?
I think I'm going to have to take St. John on this one.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's a tough choice.
And yeah, he was a Big Ten champ. He beat Jason Welch 4-3 in the finals in 2012.
Nice digging, Dyson. All right. Well, with that, we bring it to the final matchup of the night. Missouri, down by 3. If they can pull the upset here, I think they'll win, right? Because of it'll go to criteria.
Yep.
But we have Connor Flynn versus Alex Marinelli.
Probably their weakest link, not to be mean, but
3-time NCAA qualifier, Connor Flynn. He was a MAC champion, real tough guy. But I cannot say anything else about this man. But, man, tell us about Alex Marinelli, please, Matt McDonough.
Alex Marinelli. He is a 3-time All-American now. 6th place finish, 7th place finish. A Big Ten champion 2 times, which, again, is nothing to pass up for stats. Notoriously hard-nosed power wrestler for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Has been wrestling with that brace for all 3 seasons and managed to continually put people on their butts with his powerful offense. Has become much more of a pinner the last season, and I see this one as a Alex Marinelli major decision, at least. Maybe a pin if he can keep the pace up and wear Connor Flynn out enough. But we'll give him the nice green check mark.
I agree. Yep. The bull all day. He's the only guy that seems to have Vincenzo Joseph's number.
Yeah.
That is true.
What's their record against each other?
3-1.
3-1? Whoa.
Yep.
Wow.
look at Dyson. Dyson, do it again.
They're never gonna get a wrestle again in folk style. That's sad. That's sad to think about. I would have very much liked to see you can't even call it the rubber match, but at least the rubber match for the season.
Their freestyle match is gonna be fire as well, though.
I think what's interesting about the matchup is, at least for me, so I'm a Penn State fan, but
Really?
dude, it's just wild. You don't know what's gonna happen. Like, they're always in these just basically old school clinches, right? But for most of the match, and falling over, and then oh man, it's such an exciting match to watch.
It's definitely like a Clash of the Titans type matchup.
Yes.
Damn.
I didn't know there's going to be some moments where your heart stops beating and you hold your breath to wait to see what happens next.
Yeah.
Man, that duel this year was wow.
Dude, can you tell me who won that duel?
Iowa won. Iowa was the better team this year.
Thank you. I forgot.
What do you want me to say?
Over here, I love this. This is great.
Yeah, Sam, why's
Dyson and Jude go way back. What?
why's my vote up there? I didn't vote yet.
Okay, come on. You're kicked off if you say Connor Flynn's name.
He just wants everyone to hear what he's going to say first.
Yeah, I need to
Go
give
for
my
it.
man Alex Marinelli a nice little. So I will be taking Alex Marinelli to clinch this duel for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Shout out to Alex Marinelli for this nice hat. And
Awesome hat.
you mess with the bull, you get the horns. What can I say?
Absolutely.
Oh gosh, great duel.
I think the real match to talk about is, would Mariah Marinelli pin Alex Marinelli? Because she seems pretty fierce over there on the side. I think that she might kick his butt. So,
Guys, Dyson and I are doing the Young Guns virtual thing, and Wednesday we had Jason Ulf and Eric Guerrero teach some technique.
Yes.
And Jason Ulf in his house taught the technique on Maddie, his wife, and it was like a club, and then you wipe it off, or arm drag kind of thing, and you circle away from it. And he had Maddie club him, and she was drilling him with the clubs.
Oh man.
Yes. That is great.
Maddie is awesome. She's come into the she's been there for a couple of the RTC practices at NLWC, and she always plays dodgeball with us. She's really awesome.
Awesome.
Great stuff.
Hawks win, baby. Let's go.
All right. Yep. The Hawks take the duel 21-15. Should have been a lot more lopsided than that. But Sam and Jude are just incorrect with picks sometimes.
Hey, I think the only pick that I had that you guys argue with is Daniel Lewis. And you guys know full well that Daniel Lewis is so good with that cradle, and he could very
He's
well.
not cradling.
He's
Not good enough.
He's not
That's what
cradling.
everybody
He's
said,
not-
and then he cradled.
He may
Zeke
cradle some
Valencia.
people, but he's not cradling Jay Borschel. I'm telling you right now. He's not rolling up Jay in a cradle.
I don't know.
I'm
Also,
trying
it's
to
really
think,
fun
like-
to watch reactions and stuff like that when you pick something like that. So
You like my reaction when Jude?
Oh
did
my
whatever-
gosh.
The Max Askren pin, I mean, there was already
man.
3 checks for him.
Fine, dude.
No, but I was
That one
gonna call
he was
the.
gonna landmine.
I was gonna landmine for
I
Sammy
would
Brooks.
love to know if Dyson was just going to straight across the board Iowa, because you want to talk about a true freaking
Oh, Dyson.
no question
You're
about
picking
it.
Borschel, right?
Yeah,
You're picking Sammy Brooks.
I was gonna landmine.
You're
Sammy
gonna landmine.
Brooks.
So he was going all the way.
Not for Cox, though. Would you pick Burak?
No, I
He
picked
picked
Burak.
What?
I'm over here trying to, think my way through it. And
Matt left me alone and took Cox, and then I'm over here with Burak. Like,
And who knows what would have happened with Max Askren.
dude, that made me so mad because I was thinking, I was
See,
like, where am I was
That's
like,
why
where am I
Jude
gonna?
called it.
I was like,
That's
where
why
am I
Jude
gonna
did,
use this
'cause he
landmine?
saw it.
I was thinking,
Well, if you guys bring me on again, I'm going to be more prepared to be savagely biased.
so last night Jacob
You're
texted
coming
me.
on again for you gotta come on again for the semis.
Last night, Jacob
Who's
texted
going to
me.
be? Oh, obviously I'm Hawkeyes, but who?
Ohio State.
Ohio
So
State,
it
baby.
is
Dude, they have a
Like,
they have a salty lineup.
bring me and Steve on so we can straight
Wow.
Steve will get
Yes.
after it, man.
Bro,
You got
bro.
Johnny DeJulius to go against.
Beautiful. Let's go. Yes, let's bring me and Logan Stieber on, and we can go back and
think
forth. Hard.
Stieber is so insanely competitive that he might come through the Zoom call.
It makes it easy for me to go 10-0 Hawkeyes. Easy.
No, I'm saying it would be so much fun to watch you guys
Yeah.
verbally
Let's do
throw
it.
down because he would be all about it.
It's gonna be a great duel.
So
But
back
we're
to
gonna
my
have
landmine.
we're gonna have Johnny DeJulius instead of Stieber again. So
Well, that's
Johnny-
fun. I love Johnny too.
Johnny's awesome.
Johnny is my man. He's awesome. Last
All
night,
right.
Jacob texted me, and he was like, you should use your landmine with Spencer to get the pin over Waters. And I was like, I might use it up at one of the upper weights. We'll see.
You,
And then
you gotta use it for a weight that you feel like Max Askren, where everyone else was voting
And then,
for
and
the
then we
other
were starting
guy.
at 74, and I was just like, the mullet. I could talk so well about that. I was going to be like, and, Max's brother's got some good hair, but, I think the mullet's just going to overpower from here. I think Sammy's going to have it nicely fluffed and
Fluffed and
feathered, and I
feathered.
think Sammy Brooks' lat drops into his back for the pin.
Oh my gosh.
All I know is
Well-
there's 15 too many points on that board. It would all be for Iowa.
Well,
Well, then
You
why'd you
voted for
vote for
Jaden
Jaden
Cox.
Cox? Come on.
He was being objective, guys. That's admirable, all right?
Well, he will not be next time.
All right,
But
No object.
wrap this up, Sam Herring.
Oh, so quick. All right. Well, Matt McDonough, don't randomly go on another marathon. Stay safe. And
Hey, who knows?
everyone
Maybe I'll
stay
go on a
safe
double
out there.
marathon.
Double.
Why not?
Dude,
The question is, why not?
You got
It's
to
not-
tell the story of that one.
Um,
Why did you do that? And what
I've
was
always
the
wanted to
leading up
run a
that?
marathon. We're in the middle of it. Well, we're ending a quarantine now, but we're in the middle of a quarantine, and I'm doing a little bit of running. I mean, ran 6 miles here, 6 miles there, not on any schedule, just when you're motivated to run, because the rest of the time I'm in my basement on my wrestling mat or throwing around my weights in my basement. And I'm thinking, what am I doing with this quarantine? I've always wanted to run a marathon. None of them are, there's all the ones that are scheduled or canceled. Well, I'll just make up my own. And ironically enough, I have a buddy who's a police officer here in town, and he's kind of one of those guys where you can con him into doing about anything, and he's in good shape. So I'm like, listen, we're running a marathon on Friday. It was like Monday. We're running a marathon on Friday. I'll do the route. I'll do the research. I'll get the nutrition. You just be there. And he's like, well, all right, I can at least run a half. I'll at least run a half with you. And I'm thinking in my brain, like, if I'm getting him to run, there is no way I'm going to let him skirt out of it halfway through. Like, I don't care if his wife gets mad. I don't care. He's going. So I get a coach in town who's a high school coach, a friend, roped into riding a bike next to us with a backpack the whole time. So at least we have, nutrition. And I just made up a route. I think it looped around my house. We came past my house 3 different times. So we could use my house as a nutrition station and then like a mobile aid station. And we just started at 8 a.m. on Friday and ran until we hit 26.2, and that was that. And it wasn't about speed. It was just like we were just having a good time, chatting, trying to run a marathon. I mean, 4 hours though, 4-hour marathon, not terrible time. I would have much rather done it in like 3:30, but for never having done it before and not having any like
preparation,
official aid stations or help or training or tips other than good old Google, I felt pretty good about it.
So now you gotta run like a organized one. And when things open up, I will absolutely run an organized one. Whether I train more for it or not, I will run an organized one, and I will definitely break under 4 hours, well under 4 hours. But hey, it's one of those things. You can check that off the list for having done, and we'll have forever on my little board of to-dos.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Matt. Hey,
that's pretty cool.
I got to split. Speaking of running, I got to run. I got schoolwork to do. So that was a lot of fun. Matt, it was a pleasure to meet you finally. You're an awesome dude. And hopefully we'll talk again sometime. But I got to go. Bye-bye.
See ya.
There goes Jude. All right.
It definitely was a pleasure, man. Thank you very much for giving us your time and coming on. I know I was a big fan watching you throughout your college career, and it's really cool to be able to talk to you. So thank you for coming on. We had a great time.
Thank you guys for having me. This was awesome. A lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Go Hawks.
And I'll get you on for the semis, and it'll be a battle. It'll be fun.
Yep,
right.
Setting up the semis, Penn State versus Wisconsin, Iowa versus Ohio State. It's going to be fun. See who wins.
So now that Jude's gone, we got to find a way to get Penn State to lose to Wisconsin.
Clearly Seth Gross can figure it out with the landmines he's thrown out
Seth
there.
could do it.
We got to change that landmine rule just for that duel.
Oh, gosh. Don't make it a total. It'll be like a fantasy, some kind of fantasy. Do that.
Yeah, we got to keep it a little real, but it could happen. I won't.
Can't believe you guys threw out.
I'll help Seth game plans
to try to beat the Hawks, and
I was honestly scared that when Sam said, "I think it's over," I was like, "Oh, geez." And my heart
guys, I don't know what was going on. My math was way off, but so I was thinking, there's 30 points to be scored in the duel. They already have 15. I was like, "Oh shoot!" But then I realized there were 42 points. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I guess I'm still losing at 36.
36.
36 points.
Jeez, where's your math then? You've
Not
been on your schoolwork lately or what?
Here. I have. Yeah.
All right. Hey, I know the interviews and the podcast and it's fun, but you better be. I mean, if you can't figure out it's 36 points, and we gotta do some severe math work here.
Yeah, we gotta work on that. No, well, thank you guys for coming on. We were going to do this one live, but streaming problems messed that up, so that's all right. But until next time, guys.